All right, guys, we are live right now, so hopefully this is working a whole lot better than it did before. So, guys, this is our
Couldn't get any
yeah,
worse.
it can't get any worse. This is our 36th
Don't
episode,
jinx it.
I think. So, if you guys in the
Yep.
comments can tell us how our audio sounding now, we think we figured out the audio problem. So, if you guys could give us a thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat, appreciate it. But anyways, how's everybody doing tonight? And hopefully you guys like the new look here. Something we're experimenting with. And yeah, Wando goes, holy crap, I see it here, people. Well,
That's
yeah,
a
we
feature.
spent, what, 2 hours Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember which day it was. Trying to figure out the problem. I think we finally figured it out. So
Well, you set up the testing for Sunday, but you were nagging us the entire week.
yeah, because I wanted to get it done. So that's what I did. So, anyways,
Yeah, the audio sounds good.
good.
Sounds real good.
All right,
actually.
so that's a
All right.
plus. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Jinx, all that stuff.
Greg looks
Huh?
different.
Yeah, Greg Rutke is a sad Mac because he is not
I don't
here.
think you'll be saying much today.
Yeah, well, actually, he will be. I have a video to play of him later on, so you
I was
will
about to
see.
say, if it's the sad chimes, I'm already going to beat you to it.
No. One of the topics tonight, when it comes up, it will be his video is going to be playing in here. So we'll pop that in here. So when that goes on. So guys, hopefully you like the show tonight. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. So let's go ahead and I guess we could get right down into it here. First topic of the evening is case mods. Are you into lots of RGB LED, or are your mods more suitable or practical? My mods, I don't have a lot of mods on my stuff per se. The only mod I think I've done is the pixelless mod, but that one you can't even really see unless you actually look inside the machine. But as far as case mods, I actually like the way stuff looks. And well, unless you take this as a case mod. This is a cover for my MacBook Pro. It's one of those D brand covers, so I don't know if that's considered a mod. What do you guys think?
It could be, yeah. I mean, you're modifying it. It's one that is
Yeah.
removable.
What about you, Rocky?
Me, actually, I do quite a bit of modding. On my Mac Pro, actually, it has a filter that I modified into it. I used just a regular air conditioner heater filter, not the paper ones, but the reusable ones, and cut it down and inserted it behind the mesh grill on the front of my cheese really well. And then I have a G4, my Quicksilver that everybody knows, Franken Mac, that is actually heavily modified.
And not the Luke
It has
Mignani one, right?
cutouts. Do what?
Not the
Oh,
Luke,
no.
whatever his name is.
Not his. No. This is mine. Came first many years before.
Yep.
But no, I've actually cut open holes to allow more air and venting and put fans on it, stuff like that. I've done some light modding before, but it gets annoying to me. I might do it again in my Pro, but yeah, I've done it all. Most of my mods though are for cooling purposes on the G4s and stuff like that.
Jay, how about you?
We can't hear you.
Can't
Jay,
hear
you're
Jay.
muted.
You're muted.
You're muted. There. Okay.
All right.
I'm a little weirded out by Steve's green screen effect that he's got going on. Weird.
See,
that
I
the camera
I
doing
did not
it, or
cause the
Skype?
audio problem this time. This was Jay's problem.
I have never had the heart to do a case mod that actually damages or alters a case. Like I've never took a Dremel and cut a piece away or stuff like that. I don't have the heart to do it. I add stuff on, like on my Mac Pros, I got that little skate underneath, and the Pixels mod, which is not really a case mod. The first Mac that I'll actually be modding the case off will be my MDD, which I'm going to cut a hole in the side, do some pretty cool stuff with. But that's months away.
Is that the one you're
Still
going to try to
in
water
planning
cool?
stages.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Apart from that, I mean, I've added fans to it and done some weird stuff with fans inside the G-Force and stuff. But that's about it. I got one of those RGB LED kits with a little remote, and it looked kind of fun. But as soon as I put it in my Mac, it looked really stupid, so I took it out. That's about it.
All right, let's go around the horn here. Mike, how about you?
I don't do nothing.
He just gets prototypes.
I just try to keep the damn things running. I don't want to modify them to the point where they're not going to run. No, I've never been a big fan of like LED lights and all that kind of crap. I like my computers to be not heard and not seen. So, the less lights on them, the better. So my Mac Pro is perfect. It's got one little LED. So I'm boring. What can I say?
And Garrett is asking, have any of you done a case mod to mask a portion that was damaged or broken?
I haven't had a.
Anyone?
No. Patina, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gives it. It gives
Every Mac has a battle scar somewhere.
What about you,
Just
Steve?
ask Steve, he'll tell you.
Yes. Mike's seen some battle scars in person. Two things come to mind. One is, this is an internal mod, just a light one. On a Macintosh 7500 desktop I got, I wanted to put an internal zip drive, but the zip drive I had has a 4-pin Molex header, like the little ones for a floppy drive on a PC. So the Power Mac did not have that power cord. So I just cut off the lead of a, just a standard Molex connector for like a hard drive. And I soldered on, just the little mini port just so I could power the zip drive in there. Cosmetically speaking, the only Mac I've modded, and in my defense, I thought it was dead at the time, was this. This is a Macintosh SE. And so it does look a little weird. Me and my friend thought it was
blurry.
Hold on. Skype is censoring it. It doesn't like here. Let me turn that off.
No, I think it only does it on your face. That's why.
Yeah, so here it is. And in my defense, me and my friend thought it was dead. And turns out it's not dead. Well, now it is because I think the cap's. But this was just something in high school we messed around. It wasn't, anything like that. But the colors are actually apparently the same as a prototype PowerBook from Japan. So, okay.
That looks like it almost looks like one of those Hot Wheels PCs that they had back in the day.
Yeah,
it does.
the color scheme is like that. I think it was just whatever colors we had. But I had to recap it to give it back to life. So it's unplugged for now. But you guys are talking about mods, so I grabbed it off the shelf. That contribution.
Well, the one person I know that has a lot of mods is not in the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And if
it's
you
in
look,
his name.
Yeah, if you look in the little sad Mac right there, that's the reason why he's not in the show. He's probably watching us right now. He's got good internet. He's just trying to BS us there. But I know he's done LED mods. He's done all kinds of case mods. I know some of the flower pots he's case modded. He's done all kinds of stuffs. And it's like you said, it's in his channel name, Rutgay Mods.
Yep, too bad he ain't here.
Well, that's why we could talk all about him right now.
Brock just said, I want to powder coat my Mac Pro black. I've seen pictures of that. It looks pretty cool.
If you do the powder coat your Mac Pro, I would suggest powder coating also not only the drive cage or the CD-ROM cage and the power supply, but also the inside as well. To be honest with you, I think it'd look a lot better that way.
Yeah, I have one that's pretty scratched up. I might do that.
And
I don't know if it's going to help it.
I'm glad he mentioned that because that reminded me of something I've had sitting in here waiting for me to implement it for a while. It's around here somewhere. I have a can of purple spray paint that I'm going to actually... There it is. I am actually going to paint either my G5 or some Valspar. Either my G5 or my Mac Pro.
Oh,
It's
okay.
going to get a paint job.
Well, I
Why?
do have a case. It's a 1,1
Because-
case that I'm going to mod. And the only reason why I'm going to mod is because I'm going to make it a Hackintosh. Put a PC board in it. Yeah, I know. But
That goes way beyond modding.
that's
destroying.
Surgery.
well, it's a 1,1. I have no use for it. So
Oh, push.
Now I have a G5 case down in the shack that's growing green things right now. I was thinking about cleaning up and doing something similar with. And there's a guy that actually makes a kit that you cut out certain parts of the old G5 case and then you can put a regular ATX motherboard and everything in. And
Cool.
I was actually going to do it when I still had PCs, and then I got rid of PCs. But I thought about doing something like that, finding a older Intel board or something, and trying to, maybe Hackintosh something or something. But that's a minor project for a couple decades from now when I'm dead.
well, who was the guy that was on Ken's show? The It's My Natural Color dude. He did a G4 case, a Power Mac G4, and did
Oh yeah.
a modification to put a PC board in it and make it a Hackintosh.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I saw the video where he did that. He got this template and everything to do it with. So, it looked pretty cool the way he did it, and he did it very professional.
Now, there were some mentions about the Blue Ice G3. It's actually the Blue Ice G4. I found it. So if anybody's curious, I found the Apple Fritter article. It looks really cool. Somebody modified an old sawtooth and made it really awesome
Yeah,
looking.
I'm not like that much into like LEDs and stuff like that. I used to have a PC that, for better or worse, came with LEDs built in, and they were just like stupid bright, and I couldn't adjust them. I could see it being nice if you can adjust the brightness of them, which I know a lot of modern ones can do. But yeah.
Oh, Dana. No, I'm just laughing because it's an inside joke, I think. So.
What? Which one? Hold on.
Well, if any of you were on Discord last night, you know how
Well, he asked you, Rocky.
crazy things got.
He asked you, can you put a 2005 G5 inside a 2003 G5?
That one guy.
Sure, you can put anything inside of anything.
Yeah, sure. If you want to make the modifications. Oh my word.
Let me get my hacksaw out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But any of you guys in the chat here have anything that you've actually modded? LEDs, anything like that? I mean, go ahead and let us know. Hell, send us some pictures.
Tentacle Jeff.
Are we opening up the Discord to send pictures and stuff the whole time for every channel, or just the for sale channels?
I don't know, just by how much we abuse it, I think it's going to get very messy, but, this is me.
Well, I was going to say, because I
Last
was going
night
to tell
video.
these guys they could post them in the mod or in the pictures of their mods if they have them in our Discord channel.
Well, is it
working on
enabled
it.
in the buy and sell channel?
Well, then we're going to think they're for sale and we're going to buy it.
How about buy,
And
show,
I'll have to
show
go
off?
through and
There you
delete
go.
all those images too. I'll have to go through and delete them because I've been cleaning
Well,
up
what I can do
the
right
channels.
now, I can make
Hold
a.
Enable.
Well, why don't we put it in the weekly show?
Yeah, enable it
there.
at the weekly show. That way you guys can go over there
Okay.
and post
Okay.
pictures of your systems. If you have them modded, let us see what they look like. See how good looking they look.
Yeah, maybe next show we'll vote on the coolest one.
Exactly.
All right, you
That's a
said
good
weekly
idea,
show.
actually, Steve. Good idea.
I'm around here for some reason or not.
We'll all vote on it, and we'll post the next one, the winner, next week.
Cool.
All right. So I think we kind of beat this
All right,
one.
it's enabled now.
I think we beat this one into the ground, right? Unless you guys got
Well,
anything else.
Dan is more about the subtle stuff, you know, white glow to Apple logos and stuff like that. I like the more subtle mods for the Mac. All that color bursting out of every seam. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Didn't Mark do? He had some, like he put LEDs in his, like 1,1 and 3,1 or whatever that he had.
Yeah, he put it around the fans, and I guess it can look kind of nice, but yeah, I don't know. I think it makes it look cheap. Like if you look at those gaming PCs that have like lights in every fan and every cable and every connector has lights in it, like, do you want a stroke or something while you're gaming?
That's exactly what I don't like.
Well,
I got this big old Dell XPS tower that it was on the curb, so I picked it up and just stripped the RAM out of it. And I plugged it in and turned on, and there were like LEDs like blinding you, and in the BIOS you could change the LED color. I'm like, the heck is this?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, some of those look god awful, and then you see them just, pulsing and doing all kind of stuff. It's like, dude, that's distracting. If you're gonna play a game, you're gonna be distracted by the lights. Ooh, pretty lights.
Hey, that's more advantage. We need to send Jay one of those so he can have that handicap while we're playing.
I don't think that's gonna handicap.
It's not gonna help you, bro.
I'm all for that idea.
Send it to Steve too, because he's just as good.
Yeah. By the way, let's have a game.
Rocky, did you enable images?
Yeah, I did in the weekly show threads and the buy sell. It's enabled.
All right, guys. So
Permissions.
we're going to transition.
Attach files override. Yes.
Okay, we're going to transition into our next topic. It's one that I could talk a little bit about. I'm not sure a lot of the guys on here can, but it's basically Mac OS 10.15 or 15 Catalina. I have actually been beta testing it on my MacBook Pro, and there's some things I like about it and some things that are like, it's not really that much of an upgrade from Mojave. One of the cool features is Sidecar. I really like that because if you have an iPad, you can actually use it wirelessly as a secondary display. And it has the touch bar. If you have a non-touch bar Mac, it has the touch bar on the screen on the bottom, so you can actually use that feature as well. Although I personally don't know what I'd ever use a touch bar for, because I bought my specific MacBook Pro without a touch bar because I thought it was stupid. But that feature right there is probably one of the best features of it. As far as some of the other things, I really haven't used much else of it. So I to be honest with you, as an upgrade, it's going to kill all 32-bit apps. So basically, if you upgrade to Catalina, you will no longer be able to run 32-bit apps. So basically, everything's going to have to be 64-bit apps now. So there is no support. So it's either you keep Mojave, which still runs 32-bit apps, or you upgrade for the minuscule amount of features that Catalina's throwing in there for going on it. But if anybody in the chat has actually beta tested, what's your best feature that you like so far?
I haven't touched it yet. I haven't even read up on it. I'm either staying on Mojave, but as buggy as it is, I'll probably go back to High Sierra.
I'm quite happy with High Sierra.
32-bit apps.
Let's see. I tried to beta test Catalina on my MacBook Pro, but then it stopped booting from the Mac OS partition. I was too lazy to try to diagnose, so I've been using Ubuntu ever since. Oh, RAM.
Traitor.
What?
We are not allowed to talk about
No.
Linux on the show.
That's going to make it. It's Graham's fault if the show busts now. It's Graham's fault, so we're going to blame him.
I like Dan's mod on his G4.
Dana
Yeah,
He
that's
goes,
cool.
is there an app that will analyze your system and tell you what will be disabled? Actually, I don't think so, Dana. I think if you go into all your, where is it you go to see if it's 32-bit?
actually, there
Is
is
there?
an app. There is an app.
As you launch apps on High Sierra and Mojave, it tells you that it won't
Yeah.
work. Like when I launched Microsoft Word 2011 on my Pro, it tells me if this is not optimized, it will cease to work on further versions of
Yeah, mine
Mac
says the
OS.
same thing. And so that's what's going to prevent me from actually probably going to Catalina, is because I actually use 2011, which surprises me that
Just get Office 365.
I'm not paying a subscription model. Sorry.
Yeah.
That one's
Now,
actually
there's,
worth
if
it.
you go to System Information and Applications, you can see everything that's 32-bit. But the list is very messy. There's a guy that made an app that truly analyzes each application, not just the app itself, but every component of that app, stuff that it links to an application support, to tell you if it's really compatible or if it needs updating. I have the website on my phone, so I'll put a link in Discord after
Okay.
the show.
Let's see. Who else? So Graham's apologizing now before he breaks our show. So,
Too late.
so Mark Hyde goes facepalm the march of software tech to cover obscure processor security threats. The biggest gripe historics for me is moving to metal and just dumping OpenGL, meaning recent old Macs are pricey. I wouldn't say they're actually pricey. I got my Mac Pro for $150. Steve got one for free. So, yeah. There's going to be, I think when the new Mac Pro comes out, the deals are going to be off the chart as far as the CMP goes.
I didn't get mine for free. I worked my butt off to do it.
You still got it. Well, yeah, you worked. Yeah, that's
Bullshit.
Oh.
Well, the other thing that keeps me, like what was just mentioned, from moving up to Mojave or Catalina is I have a complete disdain for AMD graphics cards
Why?
and have no desire to use them anytime in the future. So I like the features and things that come with the NVIDIA cards. I believe they're superior, and they have been for a long time.
I have one NVIDIA
So,
card
I
in
stick
my
with
whole
them.
collection, and that NVIDIA card is in my G5.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I do, and I'm not gonna move unless I can take my NVIDIA card with me. So I'll stick on High Sierra.
Well, depending on the NVIDIA card, you might be able to take it with you. It's the newer NVIDIA cards is the ones that are not working. I don't.
Exactly.
But you probably have an older NVIDIA card, right?
But neither of my older ones are compatible. One's too new and one's too old. Because the one that works is the Kepler, and I have a Maxwell and I have a Fermi.
See, Tim Bates just got a 5.1 2 weeks ago for $265. Woohoo!
Nice.
Not bad.
Must be nice.
Just
People
wait, we can
around
all
here
in a trash
sell-
can.
And
People around here are selling 1.1 for $250.
Yeah, I know. Well, guys, I think the prices are going to come way down once the market gets flooded with all the old CMPs when the new one comes out.
I don't know. I would think so, but I think they're still going to hold their value. I think what's going to happen is the trash can is going to take a nosedive in value big time. That thing's going to be dropped like a rock.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I'm surprised it hasn't been dropping already. But
Well, I don't know, because people are so desperate to recoup their investment money. Like, they're still selling stuff on eBay now. Oh, this Mac Pro is only $5,000. Like, dude, it's worth $20 because it's a piece of shit. But you invested thousands of dollars, and I understand that you're mad. You want to get that money back, but you bought a turd, and you're selling a turd, and you were a sucker for spending that money in the first place on a shiny turd. And now you're mad because people don't want to buy that shiny turd off you. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
what's that old saying? You can't polish a turd.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. gets messy.
I think.
But you can slap an apple on it and make it expensive.
Well, yeah, that's probably what they're gonna do. Just slap an apple
Right.
sticker on a turd and say here. And you know what? Somebody will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what was old P.T. Barnum saying? There's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah.
And that is true with Apple fans.
Oh God, yeah, big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a difference between Apple sheep and Apple fans and what we are. I don't think we're actually that, because we actually talk a lot of smack about Apple here on Mac.
But we're fans of it.
But we're
We're
fans.
not.
Yes.
Where
We're
the
not
hell's
drinking
Steve
the
anyway?
Kool-Aid.
Huh? Steve's eating.
Where?
Dude, you didn't watch, look at the text?
I'm right here. I'm just off camera, so you don't see things shoving in my face.
Read the text.
I'm busy.
Okay, so anybody else is testing Catalina, if you got any comments on it, let us know. Also, if we don't catch you here on live, we'll be in Discord, and you could send us some comments over there as well. All right, guys, next topic. Let me get it queued up here. Top 3 utilities. Must-have utilities. So I'm going to throw this over to Jay real quick first, because he's the one that came up with this
Why?
top. Well, you're the one that came up with it, so I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think it was a conversation on Discord or on Facebook, or as Steve would say, Facebook. Like, what is the first thing you install?
Copyright Mac 84.
What is the first thing you install on a Mac? Whether you're reinstalling an old one or you bought a new one, what are the must-have? And this, of course, varies per person. So I figured it was the Clean My Mac. It's actually not a bad app. It would be fun to see what our top 3 apps are that as soon as you get a Mac, old, new, whatever, what is the first 3 utilities you install?
It doesn't even have to be 3, but
Well, if we want to be done at 10, it should be 3.
yeah. Well, I'm saying it could be 2 or 1.
For me, it's TG Pro.
That's
to monitor
mine.
temperatures and fan. Or Max Fan Control if we're talking about a Mac Mini or a MacBook Pro that has crappy cooling anyway, then you don't really need TG Pro.
Or if they only have one fan,
Yeah.
like an iMac.
Let's see. Little Snitch is another one. I don't do anything without Little Snitch. Make of that what you will. And I guess it's the utility 1Password. Password Manager is the first thing I install. So there's a list of 50 plus apps that I install by default, but those are my top 3.
Okay. How about you, Mike?
The main ones I use are TechTool. I have the TG Pro for the fans. Ever since I found that, that's been awesome. I like that a lot better than most of the other ones. And
It's the best.
that's really about it. They're the only 2 I really use. I mean, I got a couple of things on my. I've got utilities and stuff on here, but I don't use stuff much. My machine just runs.
Tim Bates
So-
gave a good answer.
Oh, I tell you what, I do.
Discord.
I do have a cool utility on here. I always forget about that. I even have it. It's called USB Overdrive. If you guys have never used that, it's pretty cool. If you're trying to use USB devices that aren't natively supported with Mac OS,
That's a great tool.
it basically lets you use any USB device, in any USB input device, mice, keyboard, joystick, whatever. I mean, I've got dictation foot pedals that I use with mine that the computer itself won't use, and there's no active drivers for. But I can sit here and I can program every button on the device to do a certain thing. You know, like I can use my Logitech gamepad on my Mac, even though it's only PC compatible, and actually make it work properly. Actually, I can make it work better.
Wait, is USB overdrive still a thing, or are you talking PowerPC?
No, I have it on my Pro. Oh
Wow,
yeah,
you'll
it's
have
still
to
a
But,
thing.
but
post a
it's been
link
around
somewhere.
for a while. I think there was even an
Oh,
OS
yeah.
9 version.
I haven't used that in years.
I would like to get my hands on that if you have a link. That
Well,
sounds very useful.
I found these foot pedals. As Jay knows, I've been looking for like a foot pedal to play games with for a long time because I have problems with my hands and using a mouse sometimes. So it's easier if I can do something with my feet to like fire guns and stuff like that. And I just happened to find this brand new dictation pedal. It's USB at the Salvation Army store for $5.
Wow.
I was like, hey, this would be
Nice.
cool. This is exactly what I've been looking for. And it's got three big buttons on it that I can hit with my foot. But of course, you couldn't use it under Mac OS because there's no driver for it. And that's how I discovered the USB overdrive. And then I said, hey, I can use my Logitech joystick or gamepad now. That I like. I used to use it with my PC all the time. So.
Let me ask you a question, because I had no idea they still existed. I used that on my G3 and G4 years ago, but the website says we're ready for Mojave, so apparently it's still in active development.
Oh, it
One
is.
of the issues I always run into, I have a lot of older Wacom tablets that, of course, no longer work. Does USB overdrive help out with that?
I would imagine so.
What model are you referring to, Jay? Like how old?
Graphite 4. I think it's about 10 years old at this point.
I have one from like 2005, and it will still work.
Where's mine?
Trick is to download like not the latest version of the drivers, like one previous, and that usually works. It works for me, but I find I have to reinstall the driver like every month. I don't know why, but I don't know. We could troubleshoot that offline. Maybe we could get that to work for you.
But yeah, I mean, because the USB overdrive software allows you to, it's supposedly supposed to work with any input device. Now, I mean, what kind of input device you're using might limit your abilities, but I would think that it would see a Wacom tablet basically as a mouse, and you could set it up as a mouse, but with tablet ability. I don't know. It'd be something worth exploring. I've never. I haven't run across a tablet in a long time, so I can't say for sure. But
yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I'd be curious because the sensitivity level of how many levels of sensitivity that could track would be curious to see if USB overdrive can actually understand that.
Yeah, because right now I can track, but with the original drivers, you can set a screen real estate section, and it was cool.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I have the same issue with my Genius tablet in Mac OS, which I don't know where it's at right now.
Cool.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of tablets have issues with Mac OS, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think it's limited to Mac OS. I've had my Wacom drivers I've reinstalled on my PC probably like 30 times because for whatever reason, just over time, it just like stops detecting it in the control panel. I'm like, all right, I can reinstall drivers.
So, Rocky, how about your top three?
My top three, it varies a little bit because when it's an Intel machine, first thing I install is the Mac fan controls just right away. I've got to cool it down. And then I want control of my fans. And then I don't really have any specific apps I install after that. Everything else is just whatever I want to use. When it comes to my PowerPCs, though, I have I'd have to boot one to remember the exact name of it. But it's basically the cleanup software. It used to be Mac Janitor at one point. Then there was I've got a new one that I'm using, but I have it on USB that I keep track of it. So I install a cleanup software on that because obviously there isn't very many PowerPCs that support fan controls or any kind of temp monitors. So that's my standard on those. Otherwise, I don't really have a lot of standard utilities that I install. It's just those are my big ones. It's all fan-based.
I have three. The Little Snitch, as Jay said, is an excellent tool. So I'm not going to elaborate on that. But Inventory X, it's a very old tool that's been around since like Jaguar, and it is a universal binary. It's probably only 32-bit. What that does is it gives you a visual representation of the data on your hard drive. Spacemonger is another freeware utility, the old version of it, not the new one. For Windows, it's a very similar type thing. But Inventory X gives you a grid, and then think of that grid as the disk space of your computer. An empty part of the grid means that's free space or whatever. Oh, no, wait, no. The Windows one does that, not this one. But basically, it shows big blocks and then small blocks and small blocks, and they're all color-coded. So you can easily see, especially if you're messy like me and you just dump stuff in a folder and forget where things are, what's taking up all of your hard drive space. So visually, it's a great way to just find out, oh, there's that OS 10 installer that's 3 levels down in my downloads folder. That's what's taking up all the space there. Or, hey, there are these like DVD images that are still on this machine that are all these things that are taking up a lot of space. So it is an older tool. It works fine, but I do love it, and I install it on most of my machines because it's just something that comes in very handy. I noticed it's a little sluggish on Mojave. I don't know if that's intentional, but yeah. So.
I think it might be intentional from Apple because if you go into disk utilities now, they have, or not disk utility, but they have that, clean files out or whatever. It's a utility built into Mojave now, where you could clear large files out and stuff. But
yeah, this doesn't really do anything except showing you. I mean, you could right-click reveal, right-click delete, or whatever.
Well, that's what this does. It shows you it lets you figure out if you want to delete it or not. But
I'll have to play around with that because I stay away from disk utility on the new systems.
Yeah, but here's the caveat to that: it only works on the boot drive.
Oh,
so
where's the fun in that?
Yeah, if you have data disks, it doesn't see those as far as when it's looking for large files and stuff.
The other one I want to mention is Easy Find, and it's has a little picture of a squirrel on it. That's the icon they have there. He's holding a magnifying glass. Easy Find, EASYFIND, all in one word. And what I really like about this software is, so Spotlight does a pretty good job of finding files, especially when the drives are indexed. However, I have a lot of external drives. Some are clones of other drives for backup purposes. And I don't necessarily want to index all that or plug them in and just wait for the machine to index, especially if I'm dragging them from one machine to the other or whatever. So Easy Find is basically a very quick find tool. It reminds me of the Simple Find or Sherlock from the old Apple systems.
Sherlock.
Yeah. So what's nice is you could say, I want to find files, I want to find folders, I want to find files and folders. You could select a drive, say only search on this drive or search everything. And it's pretty damn quick too. It is free. And that's just one of the tools that I usually have installed because this is a good trick. Also, I learned Spotlight hates searching Windows media. It just it can't index it. And I don't know, it barfs at it. So if I'm recovering a disk for a client or trying to copy something for a friend or whatever, and it's an NTSF disk or something that the Mac can't write to, it's basically nope, I can't find anything. I don't know what the heck to do. It could be right in front of it. It doesn't know where it is. This will allow you to search for that fairly easily. So that's one of the tools I keep in my back pocket. And the reason I won't upgrade to Catalina is because of my good friend QuickTime 7 Pro. So rest in peace.
All right. So my 3 top tools. First one, and everybody else has said this one, TG Pro. That is a must on all of my machines. Either that or Max Fan Control. I think I use Max Fan Control on my MacBook Pro because basically it's only got one fan, so I don't need anything more than that. Plus Max Fan Control, if you use Boot Camp, Max Fan Control also has a version for Boot Camp. So you can run it in your Windows partition as well and still control your fans as you would in the Mac OS X. So that's a good feature of that. The second one that I use is virtual private internet. Must have if you want to keep your connection secure, especially if you travel, go to hotels, use public Wi-Fi or anything like that. You definitely want to use a VPN. So that is something I install pretty much on all my machines now. And I got to thank Jay for that because he actually turned me into the place he goes to use and they actually had a pretty good deal. And I got a year's worth for, I think it was like, I can't remember. I think it was 30 something bucks or something like that. So it was a pretty good deal. And the last one that I use is hardware monitor. If you do a lot of tinkering like I like to do, hardware monitor is another good one to have because you can see everything about your system in one screen, and monitors temperatures, and monitors wattage, amps, all that stuff. So you can see all that stuff in one screen, and it helps you troubleshoot some different things. So that's my top three.
Those are all.
Jay.
I haven't heard a single one that
They're
makes me think,
stinking.
oh, that's garbage. Why would you do that? These are all good apps.
Mhm.
I think we should compile a list. I would say top 500. What do you think?
Top 500.
Each.
No, I don't think I have that many even. Yeah.
A long list.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's that many apps out for the Mac right now, unless you start including crap stuff, you know.
I will, I will
there's
send you
there's
some,
500
understand that.
apps.
I'll send you some links so you can put them in the description after the show of the apps that I mentioned.
Yeah, we could do that. Make up a little list, and I'll try to put them all in the description, and we'll put links to where you could download them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like more.
I
I'm
just
gonna
want to
put
throw this out
parentheses
there
if
just in
mine is
case.
green or-
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No.
No, you're fine.
All right, one of you
I was
go.
going to say something random, slightly off topic.
I'm done. So go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, as I'm sitting here, I'm sure you all are hearing my click, 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 click. Anybody that has posted something that is not for sale items in the for sale thread, please delete your post so I don't have to sit here and delete them. Just a public service announcement.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Rocky's getting the old hammer down in the moderation, so you better watch out. Rocky's on a tear.
Boom. Boom.
All right, guys.
I'm revoking Nick's his.
Yeah, I haven't seen
top
too
fan
many
privileges.
other apps in the comments here, so I mean that we haven't mentioned. So I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, unless you guys have anything else.
No?
All right, so the next topic, I'm going to throw it over to Mike and Steve because they had an interesting little meet and greet. So go ahead, you guys.
You want to start, Mike, or should I?
It wasn't a meet and greet. We already knew each other. It was just the first
It was
time.
a box.
It was just the
social.
first. Yeah. And believe me, we both have less hair in the process because we were freaking frying our heads on an Apple IIgs.
Which is still sitting over there, by the way. Oh, I'm blurred. Yeah, so I think how it started is I got some of these. I'm blurred my back. I got some of these Mac Pros that were in questionable condition, and Mike wanted one. So it's not too far away. So he said, "All right, well."
Your mic is starting to cut out there, Steve.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Yeah, I think either your Bluetooth or your batteries are going dead.
Let me change.
So anyway, long story short,
All right,
Steve
I'm
got a
gonna
bunch of
use the built-in mic. There we go.
Steve got a bunch of crappy Mac Pros, and they were much crappier than we thought they were. I mean, they were really crappy, but
Thanks.
a couple of them worked. And he offered me one. It cost me 3 iMac for 1 Mac Pro. I don't know if the exchange. I'm not sure if the exchange rate between iMacs and Mac Pros is off the wall lately, but it sure seems to be. So, but then of course, we had to fart around in his disaster he called the basement, and we were playing with Apple IIGSs and 2Es, and I was ogling
There we
all the color. Oh wow! And I was ogling all the color classics he had. I tried to walk out with one, but it didn't quite work. He was keeping a pretty keen eye on me while I was there. Trust me.
Hey, we need to show a picture of that picture where Mike was like having a really good time, because that's a phenomenal picture. You can tell
Oh,
how happy
one
Mike
with him
was.
in the Apple II.
Yeah, I picture the one you sent.
Yeah, he had a big grin on his face, like a kid in a candy store. I loved it. So that's because
I
Mike
love
knows much
Apple.
more.
I love Apple IIs.
Yeah, you know much more about them than I did. So that was like, okay, have at it. Here, I'll pull them off the shelf. You can play around with it. But yeah, it was a pleasure having Mike over. And I gave him an iBook G4 as well, which was hopefully compensation enough for the iMacs you gave me. Let me walk over and actually grab this iMac because I want to show it to you. But shoot, I'm tethered to the computer. Hold on.
Hey, Greg, I think the dogs are talking.
Things are not. It's a beautiful lime green DV.
Quiet.
That's looking good.
It's in pretty good condition. The speaker just needs.
That's the one I did. That's actually the one I did the video on. The speakers are borked, but the machine runs great. I guess the other two I gave him have issues with them.
Yeah, I mean they do turn on, but you could hear the flyback transformer arcing a little bit. So yeah, if anybody has any
stray volts.
Oh yeah. If anybody has any spare flyback transformers for tray loading iMacs, you know the guy to contact. But
I'll trade you for a blue and white 17-inch CRT.
I don't have a blue and white 17-inch CRT.
So also in the process, we found out that so while I was also there, we also found out that Jay screwed me, and he's going to get his. He's going to get his comeuppance soon. So, you know, it's bad enough when I get shafted by my wife, but you know, it's even worse when I get shafted by a buddy or somebody I thought was a buddy of mine.
What happened?
And then to top it all off, Steve shafted me too, the little shit.
Hey,
I drove all the way to New Jersey. Okay, so I drive all the way to New Jersey. It's a 3-hour drive. I drove to New Jersey, the crappiest state on the East Coast. I had $1.50 to get on the Parkway.
Headline: Man pays $1.50 for Mac Pro.
To drive 3 miles. It took me 82 minutes to drive 3 miles from the toll booth to his house. And then I get there, and it's like, he's got all kinds of great machines. I'd love to spend a weekend over there and help organize, catalog everything. He's got crap everywhere. And I mean that quite literally. He's got crap everywhere.
Thank you.
So kind. He does have a very impressive collection of classic machines, which is very nice. Yeah, so, I mean, I got an iBook, which, of course, doesn't have a DVD-ROM drive in it.
The CD-ROM. I'm sorry, it's the educational model.
But then he gave me a Mac Pro 3.1, which I was all excited about, even though it's only going to be here temporarily. It's a freaking single processor.
I told you, I'll rip out one from the other and I'll ship it to you.
Mac Pro. Who buys a single processor Mac Pro?
Hey, mine was. Now, what was yours? What was yours? The 3.1? Is that what you said? Because I'll send you my other 2.8.
Yeah, it's a early 2008. I told him I'd set up a processor. He's just pulling my leg.
Actually, has a machine over there that's really beat, and I mean beat down pretty hard, and it's not working. So, but I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, we booted it up right there, and it's just neither of us noticed.
Neither of us took it. Oh, we had a great time. It was a hell of a lot of fun. You know, and I got an iBook out of it, which I'm happy about because I've never had an iBook.
And tell them about the battery life.
Oh yeah, damn! The battery lasted almost 2 hours in this thing.
See?
Wow!
Can't say I didn't give you anything good.
It's better than my 1 hour lasting in mine.
I had it streaming. I had it doing an audio stream off of iTunes, and I had it running straight off the battery. I turned all the power management off. I just had it going full bore. Now it's only a 1.065 gigahertz G4, so it's not like it's the most powerful thing in the world. But I mean, I turned all the power management off. I turned the screensaver off, everything. And then I got almost 2 hours out of the battery. It's like, holy crap! Like,
Is that one of those white 12-inch?
the G401.
Oh
You'll see
yeah,
it
like schools bought those. Rebuild
Yeah.
it because the screws, you got to put some thread locker on the screws. Those screws will pop out and roll around in that case really bad.
Yeah, well, you'll see it here a little bit later. So
Sweet.
But yeah. So and then I mean I'm using the Mac Pro. It's actually what I'm streaming on. I mean it's truthfully I think it's a little sluggish compared to my 1,1 sometimes, but I am running High Sierra on it and it doesn't run bad. It does not like Mojave at all, and I think that's just because of my video card.
Well,
It
probably.
works. Mojave is kind of silly because it works fine, just badly with a Radeon XT 2600. But if I go to put a Radeon,
the card?
if I put a Radeon HD in it, it doesn't even want to boot. So it's
What?
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I
that's-
do
that's
know
why I stay away
the
from the new OSs.
4000 series. Well, the newer, I've got a 4850 or whatever, and it didn't boot on mine either. It errored out and
The
glitched.
One's a 5770, the other one's a 5260, I think. I'm using
I'm
the
surprised the 5770 didn't work. Huh.
But yeah, I mean the machine wouldn't even show me an Apple logo or nothing. But it worked. But it worked with the Radeon XT 2600, which was the actual stock card in this machine.
Yep.
Which is weird. So I just
Rethermal
went
that
back-
card because that card runs hot.
Which one? The 600?
Yep.
Oh, I threw that thing away. That thing's a piece of crap. No, I just went back to High Sierra and my Radeon HDs work fine now. So, you know, I can actually run Final Cut Pro again. But, you know, so I think one of these years, Steve and I are gonna take some vacation time together, and we're gonna go over there and clean up his basement. And I'm gonna take the pickup truck over, and we're gonna make a run to the dump for York. And you know. But,
Yeah. You get there, Jay's gonna pop out of the flatbed of the pickup truck and with some chloroform, and I'll be out to the count.
Yes, sir.
I know exactly what's gonna go on.
but
But
so,
no, it was
as
a
you guys
pleasure having
can see, we do try to meet up with each other in real life as well. I mean, Jay and Greg have gotten together. Greg and I have
Well,
gotten
the other
together.
Greg, not me.
Yeah, Greg
Yeah.
Brecke. Unfortunately, Rocky and Greg Thompson live on the other side of the country from the rest of us.
Rocky doesn't. He
So-
lives in the middle of the country.
Yeah, but I'm still way
middle of-
far away from everybody.
Well,
take a
that's
shot
because you
of
live in
Literally, I mean-
Kansas, you know.
His closest neighbor is like 35 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are
exactly.
you doing, Rocky? Oh, I'm gonna go check the mail. I'll see you in half an hour. Even his mailbox is like half an hour away from the house.
And that's driving.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But one of these days, what we do want to get, you know, we all want to try to get, you know, to the point where we can all get together somewhere.
Yeah,
More than
well,
likely,
you know-
it's probably going to be around Jay or Rocky because they're more centrally located than the rest of us. You know.
Well, you know,
It's
while
gonna be
Greg's
such,
not
if
here,
that
we
ever
can.
happens, it's gonna be such a mess. I don't
Oh
even
well,
know.
while Greg's not here, we'll just invite ourselves over to his place. That's all.
Hey,
There
you go.
yeah.
He's actually got the biggest place, and we could all stay there for a week, and he wouldn't even know we're there.
Hey, there you
Let's
go.
Ethernet for
But
him, yeah.
but we would have to deal with his crappy internet, so we would all leave like within a day.
That's true.
It's sad when I'm
I live in the
there.
middle of nowhere, and I have okay internet. I don't think he has any excuse. I think he just doesn't know what he's doing.
Probably.
It
Or he's
was a
doing,
pleasure to-
or he's doing things that we don't really know about. But so
I was about to say, it was a pleasure having you over, Mike, even if you're going to chastise me in front of everybody.
Yep.
Comes with the
that's
territory,
okay.
I guess.
That's okay. When you come over to the shack, you can do it to me.
Okay.
So
That's fair enough.
Steve and
You
Mike
have to
still.
watch.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to warn Steve. He said you have to watch the ceiling tiles don't fall on your head.
So Steve and Mike, you guys talked about something else while you were there, and you want to discuss that too about the Apple II and collecting it, different models, etc. You guys are the experts on
so, I really did not know much about the Apple IIs, and just thinking about, since a lot of people when they come to collect machines and look after, let's say, a Mac or something like that, but The Apple IIs are very interesting machines, and Mike knows a lot more than I do, so I'll hand it over to him in a second. But I just think that it's interesting that a lot of the capabilities, as Mike was telling me when he was here, for example, the Apple IIgs was way ahead of the Macintosh, and that they had at the time. The 2GS was color and this and that and everything. So it's just they're interesting systems to collect, and there was such a long range of their products. From the original Apple II, all from what, the mid '70s? No, early '80s.
1977 to 1991.
Yeah. So that huge span. So, Mike, take it over. You want to talk about how fun it is to collect them, and maybe some of the differences or what to look out for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody who wants to get into collecting Apple IIs, I applaud you, because unfortunately Apple IIs are getting ridiculously expensive. If you want to start out, the best thing for you to find is the 2E. I mean, they made, see here, 1977 to 1991, they made the Apple II, 2 Plus, 2 Euro Plus, 2E, 2E Enhanced, 2C, 2C Plus, and 2GS. And I think there's one more in there I forgot. But they're essentially, the nice thing is they're essentially all the same machine, and they're all backwards compatible. And there is a lot of noise in the background.
That's Jay.
Oh my God.
I'm making any noise. I'm just standing here.
That is hurting my ears. Holy crap. Steve has a 2E, a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous 2E, and a pair of 2GSs, both of which are kind of questionable in terms of operation at the moment. But, I mean, they do work. And the sad thing is I think Apple really screwed up when they decided to cripple the 2GS to make Macintoshes they were making more money on the Mac. But the Mac actually wasn't even as powerful as the Apple IIgs. They actually had to cripple the 2GS so it wouldn't eat into Mac sales, which is sad. It could have been. I think if all things considered, I think that the Apple IIgs would have spawned the next generation of Macs versus the original 68Ks. But that's neither here nor there. I mean,
I think they originally were they were planning a successor to the 2GS. It just never developed because, they just put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, they were planning it, but 2GS sales were so dismal, which is actually, I think, what John Scully wanted. I think he wanted to kill the Apple II. And if it wasn't for the education market, truthfully, I think the Apple II would have died in probably 85 or 86. But since the educational market so big on the Apple II series that they lasted until 1990. The Apple IIe was the longest produced computer in Apple history, lasting from 1984 to 1991.
Wow.
That's what I learned to type on when I was in school.
And the amount of software for those machines was incredible. I mean, you think of every hit arcade game that Atari or Sega ported to that system, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. There was anything made for the Apple II. It was the most versatile system that you could get in the 80s. I mean, if you were into an 8-bit computer, Commodores were better. They had better sounds, better graphics. The Atari STs, they were awesome. If you ever find an Atari 8-bit or an Atari ST, they're great machines. But in all reality, there is nothing that has the software library of an Apple II. That there's, I don't know, I'd have to say upwards of 60,000. There's probably 50 or 60,000 different software titles for an Apple II.
Well, what's amazing is still today, like the Kansas Fest, the Apple II, convention, festival, whatever you want to call it, was last month. They were imaging, rare games and discs that are still not archived. So there's tons of stuff out there that, is still being found. But what I found fascinating about the Apple IIgs and the Apple II series was how expandable they were. My 2GS has an accelerator card. It has a SCSI card. It has 4 megs of memory, and that's not even the limit of the machine. But it's a very versatile system, and you compare that to the Mac. which didn't have any expansion slots, and here the Apple, 2 shipped with 6 slots.
Actually, 8.
Sorry, 8.
Yeah. Get it right, Steve. So, yeah,
And it took
Why we
them,
need you
uh,
here, Mike?
It took Apple
Steve has a really
until
nice decked out-
2019 to get all those PCI slots back.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and they
then you only get
no,
4.
actually no.
Or,
You
yeah.
talk about the new Mac Pro has like 8.
Oh, it
Yeah.
does. Oh, okay.
Well, 8 if you don't
They were
use
going back
that
to 4
proprietary card that they're going to sell you, because it actually takes up like 4 slots, so it takes up 2 of the double slots. So you can only use, you're gonna waste 4 of them if you put 2 of those cards in there.
So do we have any pictures to overlay on this to see what an Apple II looks like, or Apple whatever you're talking about?
I could get the camera. Hold on. It's easier.
Well, you could share a screen if you've got it on your
Well, it
machine.
doesn't work that way on NDI. We
You're playing with that.
We already figured that out. It doesn't.
Oh,
It
you don't
doesn't
want
work
to.
that way.
Sit down. Let me.
We
switch
could
cameras.
see it, but the audience would not see it. They would see his camera.
Oh,
still.
really?
Yes. Remember we did that.
I thought we
in the
tested
t-
that.
That's,
Yeah, but it was working.
No.
It was showing up on the screen. You had to put
All right.
the extra overlay.
yeah, I had to put the
for it.
extra overlay, which is not something I'm prepared to do right now.
So here is an
Okay.
Apple IIe.
I think your
the
camera is
camera
off,
went off.
Steve.
Your camera turned off.
Oh,
Yep.
hold on.
Enough
says
with the
it's-
teasing.
It says
Nope,
it's
there
selected.
now. It's
Oh, yeah,
working.
there we
Now
go.
it's working.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an Apple IIe, and they're 5 1/4 and the 800K disk drive there.
Nice.
That's what an Apple IIe looks like. And hold on, it's over
Yeah,
here.
Rocky is right. We need that picture of Mike having a blast on that thing.
There we go. And there's an Apple II GS. So just for comparison, there, the later Apple II GS, which is what was that? The last one made, Mike?
Yeah. Well,
No, it-
actually,
You don't count the two.
the Apple IIe was the last one made, but
Oh.
the Apple II GS was the newest model made. They actually still made the Apple IIe 1 year after they discontinued the II GS. Because the IIe was getting popular. Oh yeah, I forgot. He's got 2 Cs too.
Yeah. So.
Now,
These
the
these
two,
are-
if anyone ever wants to get into collecting, the 2C is a great machine to start with because it's all inclusive. You don't have to worry about, oh, do I need to source a RAM card, or do I need to find an 80 column card? Do I need to find this, that, or the other thing? So the Apple 2C has everything in it,
Yeah.
including a disk drive.
Yeah, the only downside to that is there's no expandability slots or anything. So if you want a SCSI card, you can't do that. But there are expensive. There are like floppy EMU devices. Plug into the floppy port, and you could like have an SD card full of stuff. So that's one option, but you're limited
do
on
have-
memory in that. But
They actually do, believe it or not, the 2C actually does have a lot more upgrade options than you guys give it credit for. There are actually sound cards for the 2C, and there are memory cards for the 2C as well.
You have been
Uh,
corrected by Mike.
I stand corrected gladly.
Well, no, it's not just Steve. A lot of people think that there's no expandability on the 2C, when actually there are companies who have made options for the 2C. Now, they're a pain in the butt to install, but,
The world has been
they're out
corrected by
there.
Mike.
So, I'm sorry, I'm old. One of the first computers I ever used was an Apple II. So, I still have a very soft spot for Apple IIs. I wish I still had. The last one I owned was a 2C Plus, and I'm telling you, that thing flew. Oh my lord!
I always wanted
It
a
was
2C plus.
And I used to play. I had the mouse and everything with it, and I used to play all kinds of games on that. I loved. But
I don't think
unfortunately,
I've
I ran
ever
out of.
used one of those machines. Not even in high school. I think it was all Performa and whatever else was around that time.
Yeah, well, you're younger than I am, so that's not
I
surprising.
got to apologize to
Yeah.
Londo here because I put him in timeout because he keeps putting the same joke up there. So he's
Why are you
got
apologizing?
it's a 5-minute timeout. He got timed
Puts
out,
him in his place.
and I can't untime out him, so he has to serve his 300 seconds.
300
That's
seconds. Awesome.
Actually, I think it would be.
5 minutes.
I think it would be kind of cool to make a Hackintosh out of a 2GS. If you find a 2GS that's not working, try to see if you can hack a.
Yeah, I was trying. I was
Well,
trying to
just
think
put
of
a
something.
Mac Mini in there or something.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna.
Just to weird people out.
Well, I'm sending you.
I've seen
the
somebody do
picture.
that with Apple 2G or an Apple 2E. I've seen somebody mod one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's guys who you do Raspberry Pi and emulators and stuff like that, but and they have there's actually there's converters and stuff that actually adapt to keyboard to something more modern, but I don't think it's the same as the original machine. So
Yeah. I mean, it's cool aesthetically to have that, but it's it's still not the original thing. It's it's a simile or whatever.
So yeah, if anybody wants to collect 2 Apple IIs, I would start doing it now because the prices are only going to go up. And the 2GS seems to be one of the more expensive models right now. And it's also the most versatile one you can buy because it'll do anything.
Well, what kind of prices are we talking about?
A working 2GS, just the machine itself, is probably running around $200.
All right.
And then if you find one with a transwarp accelerator, expect to spend over $1,000.
Oof.
The monitors are specific to the 2GS. There is no other monitor that can work with it, Apple branded wise. So the monitors are fetching around $250 in good shape.
Oh.
Ooh, wow.
I had one in my storage unit. It fell, and
You
the front of the glass got scratched.
You can use certain LCDs, but they have to be full multi-sync because the 2GS has a strange sync to it, and it has a lot of monitors have trouble with it.
Yeah, there is an adapter you could do, and there's also the composite port on the back if you just want to use a standard old TV, but you're going to lose resolution that way.
Yeah.
So the Apple 2GS I'm seeing on eBay sold for about $100 or so. Heck, just the keyboard is going for $100, but that's a pretty sweet
picture.
We got the picture live right now.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That's Mike thoroughly geeking out and being very, very excited with the Apple II.
That's awesome. Yeah, I not to go off topic here, but I hope that one day we can all meet up and have a live Mac Yak with all of us in the same room. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
It'll be so fun.
See, that's why you guys all have to come out here because I have the bandwidth to do it.
No, that's not going to save you.
Spiders, scorpions, no thank you, sir.
You're going to have to come to the East Coast, buddy.
Dude, it's freaking humid out there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it is.
You want humid? Come to Kansas.
That's why I'm in the basement.
That's what I'm saying. Out here in Arizona, we don't have that stuff.
No, we're not going to New Jersey because we don't want to glow in the dark.
That's only North Jersey. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was
Well, I'm
thinking,
sure about
they
that.
have that Cars and Coffee for, car people. Maybe we should start a Max and Coffee, There you go.
I was just about to say, make sure we're not driving. We crash in like 2
I was going
seconds.
to say,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
more like
Yeah.
I think it should be more like computers and beer.
Hey, there you go. No, I think
Chips and corn chips.
we should all meet up in Ohio. That's the central place.
How is that central? Because
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Central to the majority. It's central to 4 out of 5 of us. Or 5 out of 6.
see, Rocky, they're trying to
Either
make
way-
it more
either
expensive
way,
for
one of
us.
us-
I
is gonna
know.
get
I
zapped.
don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll happen. Hopefully before
Yeah.
episode 100.
Well,
Oh,
I
heck,
don't know,
we'll all
but-
just meet at Disney World or something. I'll take one big vacation somewhere.
Yeah.
Get out of
Yeah,
my
right.
castle.
Well, guys, since we've been talking about Mike's adventures on the Apple II and that's one of his favorite things and having a blast on that, we came up with this next topic here. It's basically our collector's wish list. So all of us got together and we put our top 5 of what we want. Now, we may have these already, but this is our top 5 of what we would love to have or if we already have it. So I'm going to throw it over to Rocky first to let him talk about his list.
Hold on. Just give me a second here. I was pulling
Dude,
something
it's your
open. I've been
list.
sitting over here clicking. I know. Hold on. Give me a second. I wasn't even first on the list of those.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
what's killing me
I
here.
pick random.
Make sure you're paying attention.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm sorry, but I was cleaning up one of the channels on Discord. So give me a second.
Do that
It's loading
after the
because.
show.
Well, you know, I'm
Try
trying to.
multitask.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like, you know, a proper Apple product. I'm multitasking.
Okay.
But
There
you're
you go.
running Windows, right?
At the moment, I am in Windows, so I do apologize.
Shame on
But
you.
that's because I've been doing a lot
Blasphemy.
in Windows. But it is on my Mac Pro, so I've been
doesn't
redeemed.
count.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so getting back to like my list there, my 5 machines that I all time want to own or do own already is one of my first is actually the LC3 Plus. I used to own it, and I regret ever getting rid of it. It was my first Mac, so therefore I want it back. And it's actually a machine that is surprisingly underrated. A lot of people think the LC models were kind of blasé, but the actual LC3 Plus was running the 33 megahertz, 6804. Was it the 03 or the 40? But it was a 33 megahertz, and it's actually quite a zippy machine. And I loved it. I also had the video upgrade and all that good stuff. So it's a very versatile machine. I love the body. It's the pizza box. A lot of people think of when they were in school, they remember the pizza box LCs, LC2s. The LC3 Plus was a phenomenal machine. The other one, which I do own again, is the Performance 6400-200. I love that body style. I love the fact that it has a 200 megahertz 603E in it, and it's performed phenomenally well. It was one of the first video editing machines that really had some horsepower behind it. Then the 20th anniversary Mac, love it, want it. Very unique style. That was the only Mac that came with the how would you even call that? What, a front drop loading CD-ROM drive, because it actually opens up like the very popular in the late 90s CD players. You would have that CD tray that would open. It would just swing open and you'd put the CD in. The TAM actually has that. It also had, I would say, isn't that the first Mac to come with an LCD screen on a desktop model? Not a laptop, but a desktop.
I think you're
It
right.
had,
Yep.
like first LCD screen. Oh, and it was delivered in a limousine. So,
I don't think that's going to
Yeah,
happen
I was going to say, I
anymore,
don't think that's going to happen if you get one. You're probably going to get it in a smashed up box from eBay.
With
There
a
you
cracked
go.
LCD and missing the subwoofer.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
order a new Mac Pro, someone comes to your house and kicks you between the legs. That's the service these days.
Unless you
But
buy
I-
the $900 stand.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then they
So-
just kick you in the rear.
Yep. So that's one of the other ones I'd like to own. I want the Performance 630 CD PC model that came with the 66 megahertz 486 was it DX2, I believe it was, in it. And I want that because I want to actually sit there and be able to dual boot on an old 68040, which is what it's running on that Performa, and be able to not only run macOS 761, be able to run like Windows 3.1 or Windows 95 on that thing, just for kicks and giggles. I really wanted one of those way back when. And then my last one is the original color or fruity, whatever you want to call them, iBooks. I regret not buying one brand new back in the day. Instead, I bought a compact laptop. I regret it because I really wanted it, and now I want it more than ever. So, yep. So that's my top 5. And I mean, you know, who can compete with the iBook? I mean, so I don't even have to explain that one. Everybody knows the iBooks, the colorful ones. So,
Yep.
love those.
All right.
not a bad list.
Yeah, not a bad list at all, actually. Mike, you're up next. Your top 5 of must-haves.
Roger 700.
There
Roger
you
700.
Okay.
I had
Quadra
one for you,
700.
remember?
Quadra 700 and a Quadra 700.
So basically, you want 5 Quadra 700s.
I'll
Now,
take 4.
Mike couldn't remember when we were over because we discussed this, Jay. Do you still have that, or did you get rid of it?
It's still at the recycler.
Oh, really?
No one has bought it yet.
So, hey,
Well, I don't think it's gonna
So,
get bought.
okay, my top machine is a Quadra 700. I used a Quadra 700 for, oh my God, a decade. I loved it. And then it just got too old for doing what I was doing. And I don't even remember what I did with it. I think I sold it or gave it away to
I think
somebody.
you blocked it out.
So, and I miss it terribly. Of course, I a non-Mac model. I do want an Apple II eventually. I'd like to try to get my hands on a Mac Portable, but the problem is they're too twitchy. They're pretty to look at, very useless machines, but they're pretty to look at, and they're great when they're working. If you don't mind, bodybuilding. They're great for upper body strength. SEs and SE30s are as well if you move them around a lot. My most modern machine that I really would love, I want a red iMac, a ruby or a strawberry, preferably a ruby. I prefer the glossy red. There was a guy who had one here for sale recently, but I wasn't paying him $200 for it.
What?
Yeah, my wife would kill me for that one.
Well, if I find one, I'll pick it up for you, buddy.
And I also would like an iBook to go with the original G3 iBook to go with it. Not necessarily a red one, just one in general, because I just think they're neat looking. I've never
They didn't make red ones. They made orange ones, though.
And I don't know. That's probably about it. Unless you want to throw in a Quadra 950 in there.
Basically,
I use one of
Quadra.
those
Anything
for-
Quadra, right?
I love Quadras. Quadras are awesome. Unless it's a 605, that's just a piece of shit. But Quadras, and Rocky, actually, your LC3 Plus is basically the Quadra 605. But it's not a true quad. And Steve has one, by the way. Just FYI.
Ooh.
But they're not really what I would classify a Quadra as. The Quadras has the full 6840s in them. They have a much better bus. They have the new bus expansion capabilities. They have a lot of them can go to power PCs without too much trouble. They're just all around great machines. The other one that I would like to have that's not a Quadra is a 2FX. Again, they're like impossible to find, and they're like $1,000 when you do find them, and they don't work, unfortunately, or you can't find the RAM for them.
I'm gonna send you.
Don't tell me you have a 2FX over there, and my ass is driving over there.
No, I'm not. But I found an iMac that may meet your requirements in everything except for price, and I'm sending it to the chat.
$199.
No, $1,999.
Look, I already owe Jay money, so I don't have any money right now.
I'll just take a look. You never know.
Oh, but that's pretty much my collectible list. I don't have anything fancy on there. I like machines that I used to have that I love.
Is that a tray load?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Take a look at it, Mike. I think it's like right next door to your house.
All right, Steve, you're up next. It's your top 5.
Oh, it came down $100.
That's the same guy.
That's the one?
Now you can haggle even more. Say I'll do 50.
He wanted 200 for it.
That's why you wait.
Before we move
no,
on to
I
the
think
next
it's
person, we got Mark Hyde. He says his list is a G4 Cube, a 2GS, a PM6 something I don't recognize, a
Power
PD
Mac,
card,
what?
Power Mac
Power Mac
6600W.
and a Color Mac Classic.
Yeah, that's with the PC card is what he was
I
saying.
only know 2 of those machines. And Garrett Green says the Mac XL, the SE30, the Color Classic, Mac Portable, backlit, and the 2GS.
In a 2E case.
And then his bonus is
Yeah.
a Twiggy
I like
Lisa,
that.
which I doubt you're
yeah,
going to
good
get
luck.
that one because there's one that was on our What Were They Smoking, I think, at one time for,
Yeah, good
what
luck
was
with
it,
that.
$60,000? $65,000.
Oh, that's pocket change.
And Dana says he wants a TAM, an Apple Network server, and another Quadra 840 AV, and an Apple II card.
Another
So-
one. So he's sending the first one to Mike, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he says one.
Well,
He says
Mike's
one that
not even
actually
here.
works.
Yeah, if Mike was here, he could attest that a lot of the machines that I have on my shelves, they have cap problems or they're not working. I'm currently repairing them. So my list is the machines that I don't have or well, we'll just get to the list. Macintosh Portable is the first one. There was one for like $200 something a while back. It's too much for me. I mean, it's cool and all, but like Mike said, the Macintosh Portable is kind of a useless machine, especially if you have like a PowerBook 100 series. Like, why even bother? The Macintosh SE30, I have an SE that you saw, the one that's painted, but it would be cool to have an SE30. The TAM, of course, I'm not actually a huge fan of it. I mean, obviously, if I came across it and it was affordable, I'd probably pick it up. But Color Classics, I have two of them, but they need repair. But I just love the form factor of them. I love the design of it. I love that you can just swap the board out and put in the LC board. And people have gotten very creative with those upgrades, even putting a Power PC in there and stuff like that. And last but not least, I grew up with one, a Key Lime clamshell iBook G3. I do have one, and then I have a spare one that's kind of working. But I just love that color. It was a custom order. So they're very difficult to find, and you can see stupid prices on eBay. Stupid prices, like hundreds of
How
dollars.
many
for
times have we
stupid
told
prices.
you? eBay effect.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm well aware of this. I'm saying they're stupid eBay prices. So yeah, so that's my list. It would have included green iMacs, but Mike was generous enough, even if they're need some repair or whatever. I have green iMacs now, so I'm very happy. So that's my list.
All right, so I'm going to go through my list. Mine is actually pretty decent, I think. Any Apple II, it doesn't matter which one, the very original one up to the 2E or whatever. I just would like to have an Apple II just to play with and have it, so I could do some old stuff on it. Because I actually learned how to type on those in high school. So I'd like to just have one again.
You're older than me, though. That's
Yeah,
what's
I know.
crazy.
We only had one Apple II in school, too. One. The rest of the typewriters were all electric typewriters or the actual manual typewriters where you actually had to hit the keys hard to get them to type. Yeah.
Yeah, now we're saying how old he is.
I'm old. Next one on my list is the Cube. And the reason why I say the Cube is I just like the way it looks. Not so much for the actual what it does, but it's just cool looking. Okay? I do like some of the stuff that looks cool. My next one is 17-inch MacBook Pro with the matte screen. I don't want the
Anti-glare is where
yeah.
it's
I
at.
don't.
Absolutely.
So would that be the
No,
2011?
I don't
then?
want the 2011, but that's the last year they made the 17-inch MacBook Pros. Unfortunately, I wish that Apple would come out with the anti-glare screen and 17-inch screen again. I have a 17-inch G4 PowerBook G4. I just love that screen. It's got the anti-glare screen. It's beautiful. The next is something I've seen, and I wish I would have won it from Grudy, but an iBook Lime is what I would like to try to get. Just to have it.
Good
Just
choice.
to have it. It looks cool.
Steve has one.
Over my dead body. Come and get it.
That could be arranged.
Well, I didn't ask you for one.
We do have guns out here in Arizona,
Yeah, try taking that to me
And we
first.
have plenty
We'll
of
see what happens.
desert out here to hide the evidence. Oh, and the last but not least, and I did pick this up recently about a month and a half or 2 months ago, 12-core Mac Pro. I got one really for a really good steal.
Yeah.
On here. Jay actually, Jay is pissed because he's the one that saw it in Discord, and because it was in Phoenix, Arizona, which is only about 2.5 hours from me. Uh, I went and I gave the guy a price, and he accepted it right away, and I didn't even think he was going to because I thought it was such a low ball offer, but he's like, okay. So I was like, man, I could have went lower, but no, I didn't want to go any lower than that. But I got a steal on it. So, and that's what we're actually broadcasting on right now is the 12 core iMac Pro, or not iMac, but I'm sorry, the 12 core Mac Pro is what we're using right now for the show. So Jay, and then we're going to go to Grudy in lieu of.
You better show the picture. That took me like 10 minutes to find nice pictures. Come on, man. Do your job. Do your job, Mr. Host.
Let me find the pictures here for Jay. It says Jay is like, he's like pictures.
Yeah, dude.
Pretty pictures.
My list is all about form. With one exception, they're all about looks. Because historically, the best-looking Macs have not been the most powerful or most functional Macs. These are on my list because they just look amazing. So, starting off with the G4 Cube.
All right, I'm not going
to. What's there to say? That thing just looks freaking amazing, especially with the 17-inch studio display or cinema display next to it. Those little round Pro speakers, and it's just an awesome computer to have. I have two of them in various states of repair. And one day when I have more space in my office, I'll have them all up on the shelf and looking really nice. So they're still on my list because technically they're not functional. So, I don't have them yet.
They make great bookends, by the way.
Yeah, they do. Well, Greg is slacking, so I'll move on to the next one.
I'm trying to pull them up, but they're bigger than I have to resize them.
My God, man.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my God. So I think the cube. Let's see. Greg had the cube. Rocky had the cube. I think. No,
Nope.
He didn't have a cube.
I had an iBook.
I had
Anyway.
and someone had a
So
cube. Yeah.
second on my list, because Greg is just taking way too freaking
Go
long
for
here.
it.
Second on my list is the Power Mac G4 mirror drive door. Best G4 ever made.
Don't you have
Thing is a
about like
freaking
20
monster.
of those?
I have 8. Okay,
could use
Mr.
20 more.
Exaggerated.
Still, you have a bunch.
Just the best G4 ever made. Very nice to overclock. Very nice to mod. It's a very nice
all right, all your
machine
pictures
to
are
have
up, by
and
the
to
way,
play
so-
with. Wait, you put them all up at once? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
God.
Oh, look at that. Nice. That's not all my pictures.
No, I didn't put the cube up because I still got to. Everybody talked about it.
So the MDD, obviously, 12-core Mac Pro. The Mac Pro is just awesome, and I'll take any 12-core I can get, whether it's a 2009, 2010, or 2012. Those things are amazing, and that's the only. I mean, it's a cool-looking case design, of course, but that's also a very functional machine because it's, apart from the iMac Pro, still the fastest Mac you can get with the right upgrades. So definitely on my list. The next one is an Apple Network server. I've never seen one. I've never owned one. I've never played with one. I have no idea if they run an operating system or if it's just a bunch of hard drives, but that thing just looks badass, and I want one. Because that thing is a tank.
Just to answer your question, yes, they do. They are actually a full-fledged computer. They run AIX, IBM AIX.
All right.
Unix.
Yeah, that thing just looks, even if it doesn't work, it looks amazing.
Enjoy finding a bunch of scuzzy hard drives.
Yeah, we can convert that.
Easy.
And finally, the blue and the pictures just disappeared.
Yeah.
This is a terrible host. Terrible host.
I
I'm gonna
thought
file
you
a
already
complaint.
talked about it, so sorry.
The blue and white CRT that came with the G3 blue and white is just one of the best CRTs I've ever had. Even though the EMAC has a very nice CRT in it, that blue and white 17-inch has never let me down. It's an awesome screen. So I do want one of those again, but they're a little tricky to find. So it's on my list.
If I remember correctly, back then, the Apple CRTs that came on the blue and white G3 was one of the first to shove out a flat screen. I mean, it literally had like an almost flat glass on the front of it. It was ridiculous, if I remember right.
It's been a while since I've had one in front of me. Steve might confirm that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Flat glass on the front of the
which?
G3 blue and white CRT.
No, they're curved.
They're
It's
very minute curved
pitched,
though.
but it's not like the ADC 17-inch that had a flat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the graphite one was the only one that had the actual flat Diamondtron tube. They were still using the G3 one still used a Sony Trinitron, which still had a curve to it. It wasn't nearly as pronounced as a lot of monitors, but it was still curved.
Yeah, I think the 17-inch was a Diamondtron.
Yeah. The graphite one was, yeah. The blue and white one was still a Trinitron, though.
Well, no, I mean the 21-inch is a Trinitron, the 17-inch is the Diamondtron.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's the same damn technology, just by two different companies.
Yes, this is true.
All right, guys. So the last one we got, and Grudy made a video and sent it to me. He has enough bandwidth to send me a video, but he can't be on here, so just throw that out there. But we'll go ahead and play his video, and after his video, we'll talk about his poor selections there. So here we go.
Hey guys, sorry I can't make it to the show one more time. It should be all fixed by this time next week. Been having problems getting people come out.
All right, guys, we could talk to each other, but they can't hear us.
It's still really spotty and not reliable. But I thought I'd shoot this video real quick for you guys for Mac Yak. I hope the show's going great right now, guys. But anyway, we're talking about our unicorn machines, the machines we want in our collections and what they mean to us. And I've got my list of 5 right here, and I want to quickly explain why I want these machines and what I do with them. Well, maybe not what I do with them, but anyway, let's do it real quick. My first machine would be the Apple IIe, and the reason why I want a 2E is because, believe it or not, I used them in grade school. And it was the last year they had them, was my kindergarten year. They had them, a big, huge room full of them. And we used to play games on them when I was in kindergarten. And they did retain a few of them for other classes after they dispersed that whole collection and replaced them with IBM machines for my first grade year. But I'd love to have a 2E so I could play those old games and just play around with it, because Apple IIs are very useful and very they had so much software for them. It's incredible, and they were very expandable. My second machine would be, I've got to look at my list here, a Power Macintosh 9600, the top of the line pre-G3 system ever made. And the reason why I'd want a 9600 is because they're very close to a Power Mac G3. They have the same case, only they're taller. And you can actually get a G3 or G4 upgrade card for it. And it will, it takes a little hacking, but it will run Leopard, which is awesome. And who wouldn't want a Power Mac that has 6 slots in it? 6 PCI slots, although one, of course, would be taken up with a better graphics card. But 5 PCI slots for expansion is very awesome, and I've always wanted one. I'd like to make it into at least a G3. The only drawback of those machines is I don't believe they used SD RAM, so you have to get that taken care of. But I think they went up to 1.5 gigs worth of RAM, which is a lot, especially for one of those things. And it also, it's a really neat machine. And The only drawback, the other drawback would be it runs on a 50 megahertz bus. So the G3 or G4 would be choked for speed some, but would still perform well. So 9600 would be my number 2. My number 3 would be the G3 PowerBook Kanga. The Kanga was made for about 6 months. It's extremely rare. It was based off of the 3400 PowerBook, which was the model before that. These were known as the 3500 in the community, even though they never were designated as the 3500. They were essentially a 3500. It's a G3. It's twice as fast as the 3400, and literally twice as fast. It was the fastest PowerBook on the market when it came out, the fastest laptop on the market when it came out. It didn't stay that way very long, but it was really cool, and it's the only G3 system that ever came out that was not compatible with OS X, although you can get it to run OS X, and it will even run Tiger, but it's got like a RAM limit of I think 160 megs, which runs really horrible in Tiger. But you could run OS X on it with a little hacking, and it would work great. And I want to experiment with one. I want a really nice one. They're hard to find because they were so rare. Not many people seem to buy them, and those cases don't seem to really hold together very well. Let's see here. What would that be? My 4th system here would be a Bondi Blue iMac G3, Revision 2. The Revision 1 I'd take if I found one cheap, but the Revision 2 had some fixes and stuff, and it worked better. Plus, it has the mezzanine slot in it, so you can expand it, and that would be really cool. So, I'd like to put like maybe a Voodoo card in it. They had an aftermarket Voodoo card you could put into it. Apple never intended the mezzanine slot to actually be used, and they removed it in the Revision 3. So I have a Blueberry Revision 3, mint condition in box. Michael Stanhope unboxed it. So yeah, thanks, Mike. Great video if you guys haven't checked that out. But it's basically new. But it doesn't have the mezzanine slot in it. And I don't want a mezzanine slot system. So I'd like to get one of those and experiment with it, upgrade it, maybe put a G4 in it with a Voodoo card. That would be something. So that's my number 4 right there. And my number 5, even though I originally never wanted one, I want one now. And that would be a 20-inch iMac G4, which was the top-of-the-line iMac G4. They only made it for a few months. It was the 1.25 G4 with the USB 2 and all that stuff. Really cool system, but the screen seems kind of disproportionate. It's really big compared to the base. That's why I never really liked them. But the more I think about it, the more I really want one. And I could do a lot of interesting things with that. In fact, I'm considering having Colin Mister make that the world's fastest iMac G4. But then again, we have so much 17-inch parts laying around. We'll probably just make it the 17-inch still the world's fastest. But the 20-inch would be really cool to have, and I'd really like to get it in my collection. So anyway, guys, if you're wondering where I am, I'm sitting in a car in my garage. It's the quietest place away from the dogs. Still don't have the studio made up yet, so we're filming in the car again. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys next week live. And I hope everything's going out great with the show, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
All right, guys, that is Grudy's contribution there to our collector's edition. So if you guys got anything to add to that, feel free.
I think it was a nice list.
I think we all chose something that was pretty cool. You know, each of us have our own preferences or whatever, but I think we all had some good picks.
I think we did.
Yeah, that's probably the coolest part, is seeing the diversity between all of us. I mean, it really highlights what we're about. That like we're not identical. We don't resonate one-to-one with each other. We have our own preferences, our own differences, and it makes it.
Yeah, we're such a
makes it
politically
interesting.
correct, diverse group.
Oh yeah.
I'll show you.
Oh, all right. Well, I think that pretty much does it on that topic. I think we've kind of beat that one down. So,
Now we have somebody that popped up in there, but I'm terrible at pronouncing names. So
Mesh Hash Lovelace, I think. His
Mesha,
his number
I
one is
think.
iPhone 11. Or number 2 is
iPhone
MacBook
11?
Pro, or iPhone 11. That's not a collect. That's new. They ain't even out yet. MacBook Pro, 3 iPad Pro, 4 iMac Pro, and 5 Apple Watch. So he wants all new stuff.
Yeah. Well, hey, each their own. you know.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I try to stay as far away as I can from the new stuff.
Well,
That's just me.
yeah, especially the. Oh God, here we go, James. Political correctness pulls out. All right, guys. So we're going to transition over into our next topic, which is the
Wait,
news.
wait.
Up.
Wait, wait.
What are we waiting on?
I got to put this on the list, but I want to throw this out there real quick. I got an email a couple of days ago from a Maciac viewer. Let me find it. There it is. An email from a Maciac viewer in Hungary, in Europe. He never watches us live, but he watches us the next day as he wakes up. And his name is Laszlo, or Laszlo. I might be mispronouncing this. He sent me an email because Greg has done, or has mentioned, Greg Rutke has mentioned that the SIL 3112 SATA cards is what you need to look for if you want to make or flash a PC SATA card to be a bootable card in a Mac. There's a very specific chipset you look for. He said, good information, good stuff, but I found a way to make the SI3512 cards flashable and bootable as well for the Power PCs. I haven't looked into it yet, but he gave me a step-by-step. He gave me the firmware flash file and everything to test it out, which I'm forwarding to Grudy as well so he can play with it. But I just wanted to give him a shout out because giving us more options for our Power PCs is that's awesome, especially if it comes from the community. I don't know how to do this stuff, so people like Laszlo doing it for us is amazing. So I just wanted to give him a shout out and a big thank you. I will be writing a blog article on it or doing a video on it, or maybe Greg Rutke will do it if he beats me to the punch. But
I think you might beat him.
This will definitely. What?
I think you might beat him.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, just a quick shout out to say thanks, and this will definitely get a follow up in the future. So I wanted to just put that in there real quick.
Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to transition over to our news section. Actually, we call it history, news, and rumors. The first thing we want to talk about tonight is Face ID was hacked in 120 seconds. I posted a link in there. You could go and read the article. Basically, they figured out a way to use someone's Face ID when you're unconscious or knocked out. And the way they do that is they put a pair of glasses on you and put little black dots on the glasses. And it makes it seem like you have your eyes actually open when they're not open. That's all they did.
Yep.
So it was like a real simple, easy hack. But the only way for that to work is you got to be basically knocked out or a very heavy sleeper where somebody is not, you're not going to feel them putting glasses on you and, putting your phone in your face.
Most people would probably feel someone taking the phone out of their hand rather than putting glasses on their head.
Well, if they have the phone in their hand. I mean, there's...
Exactly.
And the flaw that they exploited for this is called liveness detection. And I noticed that this is my first phone I've ever had with Face ID. And I notice it when I do the little memojis, like I turn into a shark and all that stuff. My kid loves it. But my eyes are always twitching because the IR sensor cannot see through the glasses. It reflects it back. So it kind of guesses what you're doing with your eyes. And I notice it with Face ID as well. When I unlock my phone, I can wear sunglasses, it'll work. I can wear regular glasses, it'll work. I can wear a cap, I can do this. It omits a part of my face. And I did some tests, and it focuses on my nose and my mouth primarily. I can do whatever I want here. If this is uncovered and maps to my facial features, it'll unlock. So it basically ignores the top half of my face because I'm wearing glasses. And that's what they exploited.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think Apple's going to have to do something about that. I mean, it's the same thing with the fingerprint ID. If you're knocked out, they can just take your thumb and put it on there, and the same thing. So it's actually a lot easier probably to do that than with the glasses thing, to be honest with you. So
yeah, a lot of people got hung up on, oh yeah, but who's gonna do that to you while you're sleeping? And but it's not that. You can walk on the street, get mugged. If you don't unlock your phone with a gun to your head, they'll just knock you out, put the glasses on you, and unlock the phone for you. It is not uncommon, and I'll say minimal things about this. It's not uncommon that law enforcement uses whatever tricks they can find to bypass your security in the name of, whatever the hell their excuse is that day. So it is a concern. It is a flaw that has to be fixed, but unless they put an IR cannon this big on front of your phone that blasts through the glasses, I don't see it happening. So, we'll see.
I have to agree. I mean, when it comes to biometric, if you're knocked unconscious, etc., whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, with a biometric, even if you did a retinal scanner, they could still retinal scan you if they've knocked your butt out, opened your eye up, and did a retinal scan. Any biometric, if your physical body is there, is going to be defeatable at that point. I mean, that's half of why the biometric works the way it does. But in my terms, I don't consider that a hack, personally. I would consider a hack where they're doing something software-wise where I don't have to be there physically with my biometrics to defeat it. So, much, I mean,
this is more of an exploit.
I love the thumbprint. Yeah, there you go. That's what I would say.
But it's got the same, thing as the thumbprint ID. If you're 3 or 4 times, if you set it in your thing, then you have to go to, it falls back to the actual, putting in a PIN number. So it's the same thing. I think you can click it 4 or 5 times, but if you're getting mugged off the back of your head, you ain't gonna have time to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a caveat to this as well. You have to mug someone or trick someone or knock someone out that's already wearing glasses, because if your Face ID is configured to a person without glasses, sunglasses I think will work, but it already needs to have the map of your face in the system.
Yeah.
So if the T2 chip or whatever it's called has the map of your face without glasses, and suddenly you have glasses on it with little dots, that might screw things up a little. So I don't know. I think we're gonna have to knock Greg out and test it.
Well, all 5 of us right now who are on stream all wear glasses.
That's true.
The one person who doesn't isn't here.
Does Dana wear glasses? I'd like to knock him over the head to test it out.
No, even Rekke wears glasses.
Damn it.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
think I've
dude.
seen that.
Wait. Okay, Rocky. How long have you known Greg Rekke?
Oh, you're right. He does. Oh, shit. My brain.
Oh, man. Rocky's like gone.
I've been drinking like tons of green tea for the last 3 days. So I'm blaming
Nick, if you're still watching the stream, those pictures you just posted, where is that?
I'm getting in my car now.
Yeah, right? Pick me up.
Jeez Louise.
Okay.
Anyone watching that needs to be in on the loop, I can't talk.
That's a lot.
Make sure you're on our Discord. Discord is where it's at.
A lot of 2GSs.
Woo.
Here, I'll put the link.
That
Hold
just
on.
gave me hot. Vancouver. That's not useful to me.
Where are you
Anyway.
guys putting that in? Off topic or?
General
discussion.
Oh, so I have that one
Thanks.
muted. So
While you all oogle over that, the second news and rumors piece, and you may have heard this, the MacBook Pros, the 15-inch 2015 MacBook Pros had a battery recall recently because a
that's my
small number of batteries exploded and all that stuff. Now, if you want to try and board a plane with that laptop on you, you might run into some trouble.
you can't even check it.
Yeah, the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, has banned that particular laptop because the batteries might overheat and explode. Now, there's no way for them to really enforce this unless they stop you at the gate and check your serial number and know what the hell they're talking about. Because 2014 and 2015 are identical in the way they look. Finding the serial number, if the battery happens to be dead, is not going to happen. You have to take the case off, know where to find it on the bottom.
You have to
And you
connect to
can-
Wi-Fi.
You
and
can
look
imagine
it
the
up.
line of people waiting to get through the stupid-ass gate while they're checking all these
Well,
laptops.
they would
So I
they
don't
would
know.
pull you to the side, so you'd be the one
Yeah,
waiting.
I don't know how they're going to enforce this, but it should be interesting. I know that my wife has one, that particular model, and it's not eligible for the battery replacement.
Really?
So I'm going to print that page that says it's not eligible, and she's going to have it in her laptop bag at all times when she travels in case she runs into any issues, because it's going to get tricky, or it might get tricky.
Yeah, they're going to have to do some I'd like to say education, but I mean the people that are being paid minimum wage by the TSA to check laptops probably don't care to check
Yeah.
serial numbers or anything like that. But like mine is the same model. This is my work machine, so I'm not. I would actually have been traveling next month if it wasn't for a conflict where I couldn't, and I would have brought this machine with me. It is not eligible for that recall, so yeah. But I have to check my coworkers and wonder if her machine's affected.
Yeah, and Apple says it's a small percentage, but
It's never small with Apple.
today at work, I handled 20 2015 15-inch Macs, and all but one were eligible for that program. So that's a pretty wide range of potentially affected models. So, I don't know.
So is Sell Your Mac going to send them all to get them replaced, or?
Yep, we send them off to Apple.
Cool. Steve, you had something you wanted to say in the news section here.
Yes, I am looking for the link.
You said, tell me
One
that,
second.
and you're supposed to be prepared.
Oh, here
You guys talk
I'm just
about me.
copying it from. Sorry, I'm copying it from Twitter right now.
Hey, I was the first one not prepared. Didn't have my doc open.
I know.
It's making me log in. Oh, jeez. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, I wasn't this unprepared there.
Oh, that's not the right password. Hold on.
Keychain.
jeez, man.
Keychain.
So I'll
keychain.
lead up to it.
Slipping,
I'll lead up to
slipping.
it. I'll talk about it. Give me a sec. So there's a guy who I follow on Twitter, and what's really cool about this is, we were talking about our classic Macs and some of the Macs that we'd like to own and everything. Well, he has a Macintosh SE. I believe it's a SE30, and what he's done is he's done some custom software modifications on this and some other things to turn this Macintosh SE 30 into a server. So
Damn.
what's pretty cool about this is you can actually go. I'm loading the link up now. You could actually go to a website that is being hosted on his computer, and he has to reboot it every once in a while because it's well, obviously it has some minor issues. But I'm linking to it right now. Where's the window here? Here we go. And so click on that link right there, and you'll be brought to a very simple looking webpage, but it's being hosted on the Macintosh that is shown in that picture. And I actually, because I'm silly, printed out that picture on my image writer printer. So I said it's straight from his SE to my printer over a very, very long local talk connection. So I just thought that was pretty cool. It's being hosted by a Mac SE30 running 7.5.5. And he was on Twitter saying that he was getting all, a bunch of these bots from China trying to search his server for exploits and everything. This poor little Mac SE has like nothing on it, So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. 4 gig solid state drive.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. He has a webcam in the picture. Where's that footage?
Yeah, I don't think. I think that would crash it probably.
That's pretty cool. And even though it's fun, but it is of course completely useless. But this is fun to keep old tech around like this. And I can only imagine when my kid is a teenager and he doesn't even know what one of those Macs looks like, which I doubt because he's my kid. But you know what I mean. Someone at some point is going to run into this. That I had no idea this computer even existed. B, that it could do internet, and C, that it's available today in 2030. That's awesome. I like little projects like this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it just goes to show you these things are, you keep them in good enough condition, they're, they don't die.
That's pretty cool.
We've had 23,000 visitors. Nice.
All right, Mike, did you have anything for the Mac Shack?
Yeah, I do. If you guys want to see it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
You're up.
So, as everybody discussed, I got an iBook over the past weekend, which my cat just stepped on and put marks on. It was rather filthy and messy, and I've restored it back to its former very, very white glory. So, I never owned one of these machines. I've never even seen one, worked on one, or did anything with one. So it's very reminiscent of a MacBook, of a MacBook, the white MacBook. But I tell you what, anybody who's looking for a really nice G4 machine, doesn't really want anything big, I tell you what, this is actually an awesome little machine. This one's a 1 gigahertz. I do now have 1.25 gigs of RAM in it, which is the max that it'll handle. And I do really want to put a bigger hard drive in it in the future. But I tell you what, it's actually a great machine. I was very impressed with how fast it was, considering how slow it was. And it's very small. I mean, just for a comparison, this is my G4 PowerBook, okay, my 15-inch, which Greg actually has a bigger one, and it's about the same depth, height-wise, but it is a lot smaller, and it has just the screen is not nearly as good as the G4, okay. I mean, the G4 PowerBook's probably got one of the best laptop screens of anything of its era.
Don't drop it, Greg.
Yeah, I know this thing's heavy.
Right.
I got it like.
All right, Greg, quit showing off, jerk. But if anybody's looking for a cheap PowerPC G4 laptop, this is something to consider. It's actually
those are great.
Very
machines.
perky. It's small. It's got stereo speakers on it, for crying out loud. My 2008 MacBook doesn't even have that. So it's got 2 damn speakers on it for a 12.1 inch laptop, stereo speakers.
And those keyboards are pretty nice too.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're easy to work on too.
Yeah, and upgrading this thing is a cinch. All you do is you just pull 2 little tabs down on the keyboard, and there you go.
Yeah.
There's your airport card, and right underneath the airport card is the memory. So
Yeah.
Yeah, now replacing the hard drive in one of those is a different matter.
Not really.
Yeah,
It's not too bad. It opens up. It's a few screws on the bottom. I used to actually do warranty repair on those.
Ain't
Those are
nothing
great
like
machines.
the clamshell.
Well,
Those are amazing machines.
My
All
PowerBook
those plastic
G4,
clips, I hate those things.
Yeah, my PowerBook G4
Not very many plastic clips on that one.
has a lot to get into to even get in the inside of it.
I had
Yeah,
a
those are
whole
great.
stack of those little 12-inch and 14-inch iBooks. I was going to put them all up for sale on Discord, and some hoarder that we all know bought them all up for me. So I never even got to listing
Let me
them.
guess. Okay.
I wish I would have known. I actually kind of wanted one of these for a while because I never had one, and I kind of like the idea. This is kind of like Apple's idea of a sub notebook. I mean, obviously it's an iBook. It was the low end. It was the lowest end machine that they probably sold at the time in terms of laptops, and it eventually turned into what we now know as a MacBook, which is their low end laptop, which.
Yeah, but the iBook was a good machine, even for its time. And the MacBook is a sucky machine for its time. So.
Well, something I noticed now. Steve told me this machine came from a school. Okay, and judging from the evidence that I saw and the way the computer looked when I got it from him, I would agree with him. It probably came from a school. It was marked up and stickers and everything else. It's got a pathetic 30 gig hard drive, which actually isn't horrible, but it could be better. And it only has a CD-ROM. It doesn't have a DVD drive. So, and actually it was built that way. So that's why we're pretty convinced it came from a school.
Oh yeah.
Because they wanted these as cheap as possible. And I'll tell you what, I had a first gen MacBook Intel model, and it was all destroyed. This thing here is still perfect. The case, there's no missing plastics, there's no cracks, there's no busted hinges. And I'm sorry, but if this thing was in a school, it held up exceptionally well. So
See, you may have got a subpar Mac Pro, but I gave you a plus iBook there. So
well, now I want to say,
I got around the DVD problem, so that's not a big.
Yeah, those things, even though they're plastic, they're tanks. You can do a lot
very
with those.
durable.
Yeah, we had when Mike was over, I had the 12-inch PowerBook, and we were comparing them side by side, and there's really not much of a difference between the two. The 12-inch PowerBook didn't even having a backlit keyboard, so it's really just graphics and processor, just slight differences, and maybe a scrolling trackpad or something, like very minor differences.
Yeah, the PowerBook has a more powerful processor. It's got a 1.4 usually, I think. Mine's a 1. The one I have is a 1.5, my 15-inch. Greg has the 1.67, I think, in his. And they did have better screens. The G4, the PowerBook did, and they did have a slightly better graphic. I can't remember. I think it's a Radeon 9200 in the PowerBook. So
you're gonna make me turn it on to see it.
Well, we're talking about the 12-inch specifically.
Here, Greg, mine's already turned on.
Yeah, the 12-inch PowerBook was, I believe it was the NVIDIA GeForce Go 5200 on the last model, and then before that it was like the Go. It's the 5200, just 32 megs of VRAM versus 64 on the later ones.
Yeah.
It did its job, and it did its job well. Those are durable because I did warranty for a couple school districts that had those. And that was in 06, 07 when I was doing that warranty work. And those things got abused like you wouldn't believe. But the only problem those have, because they got used so much, is they did not put any kind of thread locker on the screws. So when I got them in for warranty, the first thing I did is put thread locker on all the screws, because that was the only issue they had, is the screws would pop out and be rattling around and maybe fry something, and you'd have to replace the board or whatever. Because they were still under warranty, believe it or not. Schools paid good money to keep them under warranty with Apple. And I just put thread locker on there and never see the Mac. I'd never see that little iBook again. That was their only issue.
Yeah, Mike, this is
Durable
a 1.5 gigahertz, and the graphics card is a
Radeon 9200.
No, ATY RV 36, Mobility Radeon 9700.
There you go.
Oh, 9700. Okay, yeah. The iBook has the 9200, but I mean, there's not really that big of a difference in them. You know, the 9600 obviously is a slightly better car, and I think it has 64 megs of memory. So, but Greg and I have identical computers, except his is bigger, and he likes to show it off.
Yep. And
So,
you want to know what I got this for?
probably free.
Pretty much, it came with my Mac Pro when I got the Mac Pro. The same guy that I bought the Mac Pro from threw it in for free.
Cool.
And you get
I would
mad
love
at
to have a
DJ.
17-inch laptop, and if I get a 17-inch laptop, I'd rather have one that's actually going to be good for something, you know?
Yeah,
Well, I got a
Unfortunately.
17-inch 2009.
that he's selling.
I'm selling it.
Oh.
It's on the.
But
It's on
you
the
shut up, Jay. Every time I turn around and say I'm looking for something, he goes, "Oh, I got something here. I'll sell it to you for $500."
Dude, I'm
Dude,
actually
no.
messaging these guys individually because I don't want you buying up all my shit. That's how bad it is. Like,
That's because you always have stuff. You always have the stuff I need, like the MacBook. My 2008 MacBook is like, you know, I talk to you. It's like, oh yeah, I got a 2008 MacBook here. You know, I'll send it to you for parts. And then we get to talk. It's like, yeah, I said one of these days I'd really like to find the 2.4 gigahertz file. Oh, hey, I think I have a couple of them here. I'm like, are you kidding me?
dude, I
Like
can't
the
help it.
Trail of the 2008 MacBook. Nobody can ever find them anywhere.
Well-
and Jay's got like a stack of them. He's
I
like,
want to.
oh yeah, they all. I think, and then he's like, yeah, I think they all have a bunch of screens. Yeah, just give me 10 minutes. I'll go take a screen off of this one, pop it on this one. Oh yeah, $500 you can have it. $500 later, I get a 2.2 gigahertz MacBook, and I use it. I love that thing, Jay. The CD, the optical doesn't work on it, but that's.
I can send you another
So
one.
James says
$500,
Jay
no
is selling
problem.
his sister for more Xserve money.
No. If I bring one more Xserve into the house, I will be instantly divorced, which will give me more space for Xserve. I don't know, but it's not going to work out well.
I wanted to mention something just very briefly. So the PowerBook G4 12-inch came out in September 2003. The iBook that Mike has came out in October 2003. That PowerBook only has USB 1.0. Oh no, I'm sorry, USB 2.0. The difference between those. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. I can't read. There goes my argument. Leave me alone. I was thinking of something different. I got very confused for a second. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. The processor speed. So it was only a month difference, but the iBook, the PowerBook G4, you know, it came up to like a gigahertz, but the iBook was like released right after, and it was very similar speed. So it's like you didn't really get much more for the PowerBook at the time, rather than the iBook. I think maybe you got double displays with the port instead of mirroring, but. Yeah, it was kind of a weird spot for the PowerBook and the iBook because they were like neck and neck for a while.
Well, the PowerBook looked better.
That's true.
It had a much better aesthetic with the aluminum case. I mean, if it's 2004 and you're doing business, okay, what you can't really tell, but which machine would you rather carry? The white polycarbonate machine that kind of looks cheap, or the beautiful,
I will always go for
gorgeous aluminum one?
Yeah.
You know. Truthfully, I'd go with the aluminum one myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's an extra $1,000. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it is beautiful. I do love this machine. So
I got a few of those too.
One. Yeah. Thanks, Jay.
I don't know if anybody's watching Discord right now, but Nick just posted a picture up there of 7 working leases.
How do you know they're working?
He just said it. He says 7 working leases out of 9.
I just can't go to that place because I would just go bankrupt and sign my life away.
Your wife would like divorce
Yeah, but that's
you.
what
She'd
Nick
disown
says. We never trust what Nick says. We need proof.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on here. So Steve, you're up next with your archive adventure.
So this is just a little thing. I Geez, it was back in March. I got a bunch of boxes from someone that was going to give me a bunch of stuff, a bunch of cables, a bunch of discs, a bunch of things. So I was sorting through those boxes, putting them on the shelves not too long ago, and I came across this letter. And the scan isn't the best quality, but I'm just gonna put a link in the chat. But there it goes. And so yeah, that should work. And so this letter is to someone who bought a workgroup server. So I have a 9650 workgroup server. It's basically a 9600 desktop, but it has 2 hard drives and it had some server software in it. And this is just a little interesting tidbit of history here. This is just a letter to the individual who bought the server, and it's a little blurry below just because my scanner, the paper was a little
Amateur
away
hour.
from it.
Absolute amateur hour.
I'll
This is
rescan it
ridiculous.
before I put it on archive.org. I ran to scan it before, as Grudy's video was up. Anyway, but what's cool is the letter is basically like, oh, here's this CD-ROM kit of workgroup server solutions. And it's like some demo software and things like that. There's like a 90-day trial of this server manager stuff. That's just interesting. Like there's this letter that would come like with this software when you bought this server. And what I like at the bottom is it lists these Apple resellers in the area. So Clifton, New Jersey is north of me, but I know where that is. So it's kind of interesting to be like, oh wow, there was this computer place that was like an Apple reseller. This was 1996. So this is June 1996 says the letter at the top. So I don't know, I just think that's a little cool thing of history. I do have that server kit, the CD ROM somewhere. So I think that's pretty neat that this letter was still in there. A lot of people just throw this stuff out. But
you know what I like about
the
this
letter
old
these
stuff?
days.
And not to give a negative spin on this, but I probably will. But this is a humble letter from Apple to a customer that just dropped a buttload of money on him. It's like, hey, smooch, smooch, here's some software, smooch, smooch, here's some resources. And now it's like, hey, I just spent $2,000 on a laptop. Piece of dust flew in there, and now it doesn't work anymore. And Apple is nowhere to be found. No apologies, no nothing. So I like seeing kind of like their humble beginnings. Like, hey, assholes, remember where you came from.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is cool.
That's just a little touch. Like it's nice. I have to find it. I have no idea where it is, but years and years ago, my aunt got stuff from a school, and there was a similar letter included, and it was like about upgrading to Mac OS 8. But again, it's like a letter on Apple's letterhead like that with a fake signature on the bottom. It just it's just a little neat touch that they added to those machines. When you bought.
I'm wondering now if the Wayback Machine has a available page for that date for solutions.apple.com. And it does. And
Put that in the
link
chat. Yeah. Let's see
it's not much.
Mr.
This is in
went to.
1997. It's all they have. But, man, that is basic.
Whew. Yeah, I was very surprised. There was some news article years ago that Apple gave all of their press and history stuff to some library or whatever. But if you look online, even if on the Wayback Machine, there's tons of just missing press releases from Apple that just aren't anywhere. Because when I was doing research for some of my videos, I'm trying to look up a press release. There's nothing. There's nothing anywhere. And so Apple, obviously they don't want us to remember the past or anything. God forbid we find out that they used to sell a cool machine that they don't. Like when they put integrated graphics into the Mac Mini, just because the year before that they were saying how integrated graphics suck. But anyway, it's kind of hard to find this stuff. So, if we find letters and stuff like this, sort of just add pieces to the puzzle, which I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to our last section tonight. This one actually, I found it on one of the groups. It's called Exceedingly Overpriced Apple Price. It's a Facebook group. It's not Apple prices. It's computers, vintage computers. So they have all different types of stuff. But this was an Apple specific one. So that's the reason why I chose it, because this one was pretty pretty darn bad. So this is the what were they smoking section, our famous one here. So I'm going to post a link in the description here. You guys can go and check it out. But this is basically a box. That's it. But the guy wants almost $3,000 for this box. Okay. So I think that was just totally ridiculous. And he's going to charge you $38 in shipping too. So you're going to pay $3,000. No, you're going to pay $38 in shipping.
I'm gonna make an offer of $10. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I won. No.
So, anyways,
That's ridiculous.
it is. It's just for a straight up Macintosh box with the Picasso art on it. I mean,
And notice that, the what you call it, the pictures. They don't even show a flawless box. Like, it has marks on it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, so if you were a collector that seriously entertained the thought of dropping $3,000 on a piece of cardboard, it would have to be flawless.
Well, look at the third picture. You can see marks all over it in the third picture.
Oh yeah. I mean, these things were mass printed in a factory. None of them were perfect. There's ink rubbing off and all this stuff, tape residue. Even if it's has not been folded or anything.
And watch, the shipping is probably just him putting a FedEx label straight on top of the box and sending it off.
That was terrible.
But it's too damn grade.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, so the question for the night is, what was this guy smoking? I think he was
Printer fumes.
I think he was smoking
I-
that
the
box.
box.
I don't know, but for $144 over 24 months, you can find out.
I think he was sniffing the glue that was gonna fold the box and hold it together.
Yeah, I think so. And to be honest with you, I don't think that box would make it in the mail.
And I'm pretty sure that box has been on there for at least a year, because I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you ship that with like metal sides, that thing's gonna get beat up when you're shipping it. That's
Yeah.
38 ain't enough to ship it that way, so he's going to have to take some of it as $3,000.
He's probably going to fold it up for you.
Yeah.
Put it in an envelope.
That's up in Bethlehem. I can go pick that up for less than $38.
I know where that is.
Not with your car, you're not.
Hey, Mike, let's go convince.
Yeah, but you got to have $3,000 though to get it though.
I give him 3,000 pennies.
Between me and Steve, we'll have $3,000.
Yeah, sure.
I got a pickup truck, and he's got the baseball bat.
Oh wow!
I want to be there for that.
You're the guy with the Macintosh box. Let me talk to you. Yeah.
So guys, I mean, what was he smoking? I mean, I think they were smoking the box itself, because
Yeah, probably. Rolling that crap up like peyote or some shit.
By the way, I just want to point out that one of our longtime friends and fans here, Nick, who is currently nowhere to be found in the live chat, is just chatting it up on Discord, not paying attention at all. I just want to point that out real quick and publicly
Time
shame
out.
this guy.
Give him a timeout.
Yeah, we should put him in timeout. Yeah, but we're done. So next week, let's do it at the beginning of the
Yep.
show.
well, we did put Dana in timeout, so hey.
You put
be-
him
be
in there.
honest,
Don't
be honest. It
include
felt
the
good,
rest of
didn't
us.
Hey, we're all
Oh,
Mac
good.
Yak, so hey.
Great.
All right, guys. So make sure you like and subscribe both YouTube and Facebook, and we also have a new Twitter account. So if you want to post the link to that,
Yep.
or the
The
Twitter
handle
Thank
is
you, Steve.
MacYak Podcast.
Yeah.
So the plan is, because YouTube's notifications are always so unreliable, we'd like to do posting on there too. So if you're on Twitter, follow that, and whenever we do a podcast, every Thursday, you'll get a link in there
Yep.
too.
So make sure you subscribe to all this stuff so you can keep in touch with us. We do have a Discord, so come and join us on Discord. In fact, that's where Nick is, but he's not in our live chat. So like Jay said,
He followed our instructions too
I think
well.
Nick needs to be downgraded. What do you think?
I think we should make a new role and make it something really embarrassing and
Oh,
stick him in there.
This is what happens. If you get punished, you have to go in a UT game versus me and Jay. And if you beat us, you're all right. But if you lose, that's it. You're
I
done
like
for
that.
happen.
I like that. Speaking of Unreal Tournament, Rocky was blessed with a bit of a big mouth last night, and he got himself into a face-off on Unreal Tournament this coming Sunday, where we're going to settle a few things. So I will be announcing this on Discord and the PowerPC Gaming Lounge, but everybody's invited to come and kick his ass up and down the map.
Oh, what?
Yep.
Come on.
Is this 1999 or 2004?
No, 2004. I don't care. We can do 99. That's cool.
No,
I wanna test out this
2004,
iMac.
I don't have 99 on my G5.
Okay, 04.
All right, I'll pull out my G3 then.
No, we'll do 99.
This ass whooping will happen.
Ah, jeez.
Somebody gonna let me know when it is so I can be there.
Yeah.
Well,
What?
We'll put it on Discord.
Nick said he went to go lie down, and we're just ripping on.
You can lay there and type on Discord. You can watch the damn stream. I don't buy it.
Exactly. Grudy's watching it, a little bit of it on his crappy internet.
Yeah, right? 5 frames per minute.
Yeah, so
But
He
this is
complains
trying.
about having cruddy internet, but I'm the one with the worst internet out of all of
I
us.
know.
I know.
And I'm still
And his
here.
bad internet is like 3 times better than yours, Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right, guys. So
everybody currently here, thank you for watching. After this show, I will be hopping over to Discord in the voice channel to hang out there for a little bit. So hope you can join us there.
yeah,
I don't know who
And
else is going
I
to be
probably
there.
won't because I
And
got to
thank you, Greg, for getting Skype to work. This worked out well.
Yes, it does.
so-
I think we're going to continue using
Yes,
this.
worked out great.
We're not bouncing around
Yep.
anymore. I think I like it. We figured it out. Yeah. Well, there goes. Yeah, Steve's trying to make his own bounce. We could all sing "Kumbaya" and just go back and forth like this,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce out of here before
Yeah.
that happens.
Anyways, guys, check out the description info and the links. I will have timestamps up probably tomorrow sometime. So if you're a late viewer, I will have those up so you can go straight to whatever section you want to see. Spread the word and tell your friends. Make sure you spread the word. We need more viewers. So, guys, take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
See ya.